Hey everybody, it's Greg here. I am back in quarantine 2.0 because they closed down the gym. So I'd figure why not do a little cooking videos for you. I know a lot of people sometimes on my Instagram will like and comment on some of the foods that I've made and posted. So today we're gonna make kind of three parts because I'm making homemade vegetarian tacos tonight. Excuse me. But we're going to start with the pineapple relish that I'm going to make, or the pineapple salsa, okay? I have all my ingredients, otherwise known as my mise en place here. So mise en place means to put in its place. So we want to make sure you have all your ingredients out. Some things I've already have washed and things like that, but I'm going to go through the prep for you. We need to make sure we have some cilantro. You're going to need a lime, a red pepper. We're going to use half a red onion. I already have some pineapple that's been pre-cut that I bought at the store just to make things easier, even though I love fruit and I could use some pineapple in my life in general. And then, of course, some good old-fashioned salt to season to taste, okay? So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to prep these items. We're going to go through this together. You always want to make sure you have a nice chef's knife with you. I always recommend before you're starting, you hone your knife using a steel. Sometimes if you can sharpen your own knives, great. This will help a little bit. It helps to align the teeth. Also, sometimes just make sure you watch your thumbs, right? So in that downward motion, you want to make sure that, especially when you cut things that are acidic and things like that, if you use your knife to cut tomatoes and things like that, you always want to hone it again just to help align those teeth. It makes it safer and easier to cut with, okay? So I'm going to start with the pepper. We're going to end up using about half of it. This is just going to be enough to serve 2 people tonight, so I'm not going to use every part of the ingredients that I have here today. I'll save the rest for another meal, okay? The pepper, the best way to do this, always remember your claw grip, right? So that you don't cut your fingers. You're going to take off the top, okay? And then I have a nice little trash for garbage here. You can hold on to this. You can add it to flavor some soups and stocks and things like that, but I'm not using it. Just want to cut off the end here. There's a piece I didn't like there. And then you have this nice cylindrical part, right? The best way to cut a pepper is if you cut down the side and then you'll kind of roll it through. Hopefully you can see this at home, right? Easiest way to get these seeds out, the core out, rather than mangling it, the whole thing, and not being able to get it done. I'm right near my sink here, so I'm just going to throw the rest of those seeds out. Oh, I did forget one other ingredient, which is the jalapeno for this. So I'm going to have to run to the fridge in a moment and get that jalapeno. So I have some paper towel on the side too, just to make sure I keep my area nice and clean. Get those seeds off my cutting board. And then from there, I'm basically going to take about, I don't know, half to 3/4 of this. I'll leave this off to the side so that I can use later. And then we're going to work on, making some dices here. So I'm going to make these nice strips. You can make them any size you want. I like about 1/4 of an inch on my dices here, okay? Making sure that you keep it all nice and straight, because from there, you can turn everything, and then we'll kind of cut and make those dices, right? You want to have texture, so you don't want things to be super small, because then when you go to eat it, but you also don't want things super big, because you want that pineapple to be the star of the show, basically. But we're going to throw these peppers in the bowl here, because everything's going to go in this bowl today as we make this. And then I'm just going to finish up the rest of these peppers. I'm a lefty, just depending on how you cut. Obviously, maybe a different angle. This guy made a little too big, so we'll cut him. There we go. Listen, this is more rustic. I'm not in a French restaurant looking to make a Michelin star here. I mean, if I can give Michelin stars for home cooks, by all means. Those of you that don't know, I did go to culinary school. It's been quite some time. Spent a little bit of time in a kitchen, mostly in the front of the house for restaurants. So there are my peppers right there for you, okay? From there, let's go over, let's knock out this pineapple. I usually like to save the onion towards the end. I'm going to just get some of these seeds off. I like to save that onion for the end because, with the skin and things like that, typically will make more of a mess, right? So same thing, I'm going to dice this up. Cut that in half. Here's where you could probably go a little bit bigger on your slices and your dices, right? Because it is all about the pineapple salsa, right? So you can use this for a whole number of things. Some people, you can add it to salads. Like I said, I'm making tacos tonight. Later today, I'm going to make my own tortillas, my homemade tortillas, which hopefully you can join me again later. We're making actually sweet potato tacos tonight. I'll have some black beans in it, little avocado crema, and then and this lovely pineapple salsa. So, you don't have to get too fancy with the dice here. Anything that works for you. Probably add about another pineapple here. Here's a nice big piece. Easy if you don't like cutting a pineapple yourself. The supermarkets always have that pre-cut fruit. Just make sure it looks fresh. And then of course be careful as things start to slip. You want to make sure that knife is protecting, or your hand is protecting yourself from that knife, right? So, beautiful. And this is one of those things you can use the same cutting board for, because we're all doing produce and vegetables here, so you don't have to worry about any sort of cross-contamination. Obviously, if we were had cut something earlier on here that didn't quite work, we'd for sure, do clean our cutting board. You'll see right here, right, pineapples right there. I'm gonna quickly run to my fridge because my mise en place wasn't together. So I forgot my jalapeno that I had my wife buy the other night. So here's my lovely jalapeno. I'm going to use about half of this, depending on how much extra kick you want. Remember, jalapenos aren't super spicy on the capsaicin scale. I will rinse that off. We are still in a pandemic. I want to make sure everything's nice and clean here. Remember, when you cut through this, you're going to want to be careful not to touch your eyes afterwards, okay? One other piece of equipment to get the seeds out in the center, because remember, the seeds will add a little bit of spice to it, but in this sort of salsa, I don't want to have any seeds. I use a melon ball scooper, you'll see. You can obviously always use a spoon, if you will, so I'm just going to go right down the center of this guy. There you go. And you're going to see, I'm going to leave him off to the side as well. You'll see that center. All I'm going to do over my sink here, you can also do it over your cutting board. If you can see, I'm just scraping the center guy out here. It also gets the pith, or that skin in the center out that is not very pleasing to the taste. It adds a little bit of bitterness. So you want to get that out, scrape it out. There you go. So like I said, just depending on what you're looking for here, similar sort of cutting technique here. We'll make some thin slices. I want these a little bit thinner than I do the peppers, obviously, so maybe about an eighth of an inch, maybe even smaller. So you want to make a smaller. And I actually might even use a little bit less. I'm definitely not a spice person. I'm a gringo, I guess. So real small little pieces here. I know my wife likes a lot of spice, so when we have our tacos tonight, she can add some extra spicy sauce to it, whether it's some tapatio or what have you. And I'm just going to brush this in here. Remember, your knife is a great option. Just be careful that you are, being mindful of the blade, so that when you pick up your food items, you're not, going to gouge your hand or finger out or anything like that. So I'm going to take that other little piece off to the side. Get those other little stragglers here, right? Just throw it in there. Little sound effect never hurts, like whoosh, right? So there you go. So we've got a few of our ingredients. We've got about 3 more things to add, right? So I'm going to just cover this back up. Always trying to work with a station that's relatively clean. We're going to head to our red onion next, right? So we want to always keep this part intact. The top part of the onion, right? The stem part you want to keep intact. This top part is quite all right to cut off. You'll see why in a moment. So I'm going to go right down that. And remember, I'm not using the whole thing, so you need about half a small onion for this. I'm going to go a little bit smaller. So I'm going to cut through that core right there. So, and this I'll save off to the side, but here we go. I have my nice, beautiful red onion here. I'm I'm going to peel the top layer of that protective skin off. Look how beautiful that is, right? That nice bright purple. Now here's why, remember I said most of the time I like to do my onions last because they leave a lot of pieces of the stem and the skin. So why do I keep the stem intact? It makes it a whole lot easier to dice and cut. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make these lovely small slices right here. Once again, about 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch. Be careful not to go too far to cut. And then you're going to make these nice, what would this be? This would be a horizontal slice, right? We're going horizontal. And you want to make sure you watch those hands, right? So you can also do the half slice all the way through the beginning. I didn't cut my hand, don't worry. And then you're just going to basically make these nice little dices right here. Look at that. Perfect. And you can go as far down as you want. You know, some pieces might come off to the side. Those little edges, they always fall out on me sometimes. That's okay. Because remember, this is rustic. We're not looking for perfect 1/4 by 1/4 where you're going to get graded by your culinary professor. I'm just your friend here. I'm not going to grade you. So if you have any questions, let me know. So depending on how much onion you want in there, I think this is going to be good. Remember, this is only for 2 people tonight. So if you want more of a detailed recipe, I can always help you with that. But look at those colors, right? Look at all that color. And then all of this stuff, these pieces, I'm going to save because they are still usable. I can saute them up with some eggs in the morning. I can, who knows. And of course, if you're putting anything anywhere, please make sure that your countertop is clean as well. So look at that. So what do we have left here? We have our cilantro. I've already kind of pulled some pieces off and washed them. This is just a nice chop here. Once again, protecting those hands. One of my culinary school teachers, people love to just go crazy when they mince and chop and things like that. One of my culinary school professors always told me, he's like, if you can see a lot of green on the cutting board left over, that residue from whatever herbs you're cutting, whether it's rosemary, cilantro, mint, what have you, if you can see a lot of green underneath that cutting board, it means you over chopped it, right? You're taking all of that beautiful color and that flavor out. I am not a huge fan of cilantro. I think my many years of working in restaurants with family meal, some of the cooks added tons of cilantro, so I've kind of grown a little bit of a distaste for it. But I still use it in recipes like this, and I'll use it in my guacamole. But I use it a little more sparingly. So a little more sparingly. So last thing we need here, gang, is that lime, that beautiful green lime. So already washed. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to roll it out. What this does, it helps to concentrate the juices right in the center. Okay, so what I'm going to do is we're going to slice it down the middle. So about 1/4 to 1/2 a lime. I'm going to squeeze that lime juice right in. If you have a juice squeezer, you can use that too. Okay, and then from there we're going to mix this guy up, right? We may need a little more pineapple. Remember, pineapple is the star of the show. This is a pineapple salsa. So here's what I'm going to do. I got plenty of room on my cutting board here. I'm just going to wipe this guy down. Remember, I'm just using vegetables and fruits here, so I'm not really worried as long as my things are clean, which I think they are. So give me one moment here. We're just going to put that on my towel there. I'll just brush some of this into my sink. Beautiful. So I'm going to grab one more pineapple out of this. Doesn't need to be a huge one. I just need a little extra, I think. I think it'll make it so much better. Boom. Boom. Just like that, right? Boom. Right down the middle. Get it, chop it, dice it, whatever you're going to call it. Whoom. Just throw it in there. Right? And then we're just going to mix this guy up some more. Love it. So this actually, you don't want to necessarily just serve this right away on your tacos. A good 10 to 20 minute rest in the fridge would be awesome. Help all those flavors marry together. Beautiful, beautiful colors. Can you see that? Look at all that beautiful color. And then what's the last thing we're going to do to this? We're going to add a little salt to taste, right? Little salt to taste. And then we'll mix it up. That salt is going to help bring out some of those juices in the fruit, and the pepper. All that great stuff. So The other thing is this recipe or this kind of salsa can last up to about 4 days in your fridge. So if you're not ready, the longer it lasts, I would say at least a day, those flavors are going to be great. I'm going to eat this later tonight, probably around, I don't know, 7 or so. So maybe take a little bit of a taste here. Grab a different spoon. Get a little bit of everything. Oh, that's bomb. Bomb.com, right? So, there you go. Quick and easy. Pineapple salsa. How long did that take us once we had all of our ingredients out? I'm sorry the jalapeno wasn't out right away, but what, 10 minutes? Not even to make that? Depending on how fast your knife skills are. You can have this all prepped ahead of time and diced up in the morning, put it together, put it back in the fridge, and you're good to go. Other than that, guys, that's some pineapple salsa for you. Tune in a little bit later. I'm going to be making those homemade tortillas. And, that's about it. So hopefully I'll see you guys later. Have an awesome rest of your day. And good eating, right? Good eating. See you later. Bye.